Hello, hunters, and welcome back to my story. Let's begin part 11. Zabuza heard what Goaty told the others, so now he knows that he will explode since he can't defuse. Then he tells the others that he has accepted his fate because now he'll take them and the entire planet down with him. Now it all seems hopeless, like all is lost. But just then Curtis gets up and powers up to his ultimate form. Zabuza tells him there's no way to fight it, and Goaty says that he's right. But then Curtis just smirks and says that he's not gonna fight. Then he turns around and looks at his sons. And he tells them that he's proud of them, and that he's found the one way that he can save Earth, and that he'll see them soon. Before they can say anything, Curtis runs up to Zabuzin, gets him in a hold, and jumps up as high as he can. Atka realizes that he's going to sacrifice himself, but then Akira yells out to him that if he dies, he can't be brought back again by the Fountain of Wishes. Then he tells him to get away quickly. Curtis does an upward throw to kick combo to get some distance, then he thrusts himself downward, but Zabuzin catches up to him. Then Curtis fires a full power blast to push him away, but the blast did nothing. It didn't even push the monster back. Then he manages to get close again and he explodes. The initial attack hit Curtis point blank and knocked him to the ground, and the full explosion was so massive that it hit everyone and totally consumed Cherokee Fields. Zabuzar and Zin died from the explosion, and this time they were dead for good. No one else is dead, but they're all injured. Atka and the others can barely stand, but Curtis is unable to. He's been mortally wounded and can barely speak. He calls Atka to him, and Atka runs up to him in tears. He tells Atka that he's sorry for being reckless, and to tell his mom that he loves her. Atka tells him that he'll find a way to bring him back, but then he says that it's okay. And then he says that this is goodbye forever. Then he dies. Atka is sad and angry that he yells and powers up to his ultimate form. He yells out to the dead demon that if he left behind a corpse he'd tear it to pieces. He's angrier than he's ever been before. Through his anger, his ultimate form becomes a lot stronger. Alexis tries to calm him down, but even her best efforts are in vain. Then his injuries get to him, and he falls unconscious. Then everyone else shows up, and they take everyone back to the castle to heal. Curtis's body is buried in the Cherokee royal family's graveyard, and everyone else is healed up completely. Sarah is devastated, but she doesn't want to mourn because she knows that he wouldn't want that. Then Atka tells her what Curtis told him, and that although it shouldn't have been him to give his life, in the end, they're all still alive because of him. Then everyone goes back home, except for Spirit, who's still at the castle. 2 weeks pass, and then someone arrives at the castle entrance. It's the Chimera King, Eldis. He's been traveling across the galaxy and has recruited 3 planets for the tournament so far, and now he's on Earth in hopes of gathering more warriors. Atka, Alexis, Spirit, Stry, Shelia, Roshan, and Junior show up to see who their new visitor is, and Goaty, Rahi, and Wormlet go out to see as well. The king introduces himself, and then Roshan and Junior remember him. He then tells them all about the Tournament of Worlds, and tells them where it will take place. Just then the other 3 chimeras arrive, and they're caught up on what's going on. Everyone except Shelia and Spirit say that they'll enter the tournament. Then Eldis asks the 5 chimeras if they could fight for Eldin instead of Earth, and they agree to. Then he asks Spirit and Shelia if they'll participate. Shelia says no, and Spirit decides to enter. However, he'll bring his planet Dark into the mix instead of fighting for Earth. Now that they've all decided, Eldis can continue what he was saying. Since he got 3 planets in here, the total of planets being represented is now 6, which was his goal. Now the tournament can finally begin. It takes place on Pluto in 1 day. The rules are if you fall out of the ring, you get KO'd, forfeit the match, or kill your opponent, you will be removed from the tournament. Also, there is no time limit to the matches. Flying isn't allowed, weapons aren't allowed, healing items or abilities can't be used during a battle, no outside interference is allowed, and there will be a preliminary round and a series of exhibition matches prior to the tournament. And the last rule is that each planet must have 10 warriors representing them in the tournament. No more, no less. With all that said, Eldis leaves with the 5 chimeras to planet Eldin to get their remaining warriors, and to prepare for the tournament. Shelia goes back home, and now the other 4 have to decide what their next move is. With Spirit and the 9 warriors he's trained on his homeworld, he already has the exact number of fighters needed. With Atka, Stry, and Alexis, Earth currently has 3 out of the 10 required warriors. Stry suggests that they recruit their brothers Leah J, as well as Akiro. That will bring their total to 6. Then Alexis tells them to bring Kevin as well, and Spirit steps in and says that if they're recruiting Kevin, they should get gear as well. He's very strong and the Spirit still wants to fight him, so it'd be perfect. So if they get those 2 as well, their total will be up to 8. Then Atka says they can bring Hikage and Hikari to fill out their last 2 slots. Now they have picked all their team members, and now have to go off to try to successfully recruit the 7 selected fighters. Spirit leaves to go back to his world, and Atka, Stry, and Alexis split up to get the others. Alexis goes to Cherokee Woods in hopes of recruiting Kevin and Gear. Stry goes to Outtown in hopes of recruiting Lee and Jay. Atka goes to Great Village in hopes of recruiting Akiro, and after that he'll head to Cherry Village in hopes of recruiting Hikage and Hikari. Alexis makes it to the house and sees Blair, and then she asks for Kevin and Gear, but Blair says they're not home. She says they're out doing some early training. Then she offers for Alexis to stay for coffee while she waits for them, and she accepts. Meanwhile, Stride has just made it to his mom's house, and he asks her if Lee and Jay are home. She says that Jay is there, but he just missed Lee, who left there for the city. She says he found a letter on his window from a girl named Michelle, telling him to meet her in the city, so he left after breakfast. Stride goes inside to talk to Jay about the tournament, and Jay accepts the offer without hesitation. Shortly after, they head to Cherokee City to find Lee. Meanwhile, Kevin and Gear are back, and Alexis tells them about the tournament. Kevin sees that there will be no better opportunity to see the fruits of his training with Gear, so he accepts. However, Gear declines, saying that he needs to stay by his wife and daughter's side to protect them. Normally he doesn't mind leaving them for a short amount of time, but this tournament will last a long time, so he can't afford to leave them. Then Alexis tells him that Spirit is the one who suggested that they bring him, because he wants to fight him. After some thinking, he says that he will go, but only if someone stays there in his place. She has no idea who to bring. Kevin suggested that they get one of the Chimeras to do it, but they're all on planet Eldon. All except Sam. That's what she was, is they can get Hans and Sam to stay there during the tournament. She gets out her cell phone and calls Atka, who has just arrived at Great Village. She tells him to get Hans and Sam to Gear's house to stay with Blair and Claire, because otherwise Gear won't enter. Atka says he'll send him that way after he gets Akiro. Then they end the call. Atka visits Akiro and tells him about the tournament, and Akiro agrees to enter. With that, Akiro goes to Cherokee City, and Atka heads to the Mountainfoot Village to get Hans and Sam. Meanwhile, Stry and Jay found Lee, who was meeting a woman named Michelle, who was his age, in a grocery store. They decide to stay hidden and see how things play out. It turns out that this girl isn't a stranger, but someone who he's known for a long time, but never gotten to really talk to since she works at that store, and he's a frequent customer there. She fell in love with him over the years, and now she's found out where he lives and arranged this meeting to confess to him. She said that she would secretly watch him whenever she was off work, and that's how she found this out. Then she confesses to him. Lee isn't sure how to feel about it, and then Stry steps in and talks to him. Then Lee decides to accept it after saying that she's not a bad person, and he realizes that he loves her too. And then Stry and Jay ask him to enter the tournament, and he agrees to. Then Akira arrives, and the four of them head to Cherokee Castle, the place where they agree to meet and wait for the tournament. Now Atka has made it to Mountainfoot Village, but when he goes to see Hans and Sam, they're not around. He asks the villagers, and they say that the two entered the Dark Castle to study the structure and see if it holds any secrets now that it's cleared of monsters. Then Atka calls Stry and tells him to recruit Hikage and Hikari since he won't have time to. Then Stry says that they will, and ends the call. Atka enters the Dark Castle once more in search of Hans and Sam. Stry sends Lee and Jay to get the others. He says bye to Michelle, who was there with them. And then they decide that Lee will move in with her too, so Michelle says that she will leave now to get his stuff moved in. They both promise to do well for each other. Then Lee and Jay leave, and Michelle has a conversation with Stry and the King, and she's officially welcomed into the Alliance. Then she leaves. Meanwhile, Atka has reached the room where they fought Ultra, and there he sees Sam. He asks him where Hans is, and Sam says they split up to cover more ground in the dungeon. Then he tells Atka that they wanted to see if the Dark Spirits left behind any secrets there. Then Atka tells Sam what's going on. He agrees to help because he hasn't found anything there, so they go off to find Hans. They get to where he first fought Spirit, and they see a massive hole in the floor where he blew himself up. They look down and see a secret room, and Hans is there. They go down to see that he's discovered something peculiar. It looks like an abandoned secret lab of sorts, and there's a mural on the wall that has 3 symbols. One is a tree, one is a canyon, and one is a cloud. And they all surround a sword symbol. Hans believes this is saying that 3 certain locations hold the key to a secret weapon, developed by people from very far away, a long time ago. Hans writes down this info, then Sam spots a slightly burned folder which contains info on a project that seems recent. It's called Goo 2. The info in the folder seems to imply that it will improve on the failure that was Project Goo. Thanks for watching part 11 of this story. Stay tuned for part 12 for more on Goo 2 and the final hours of the recruitment for the Tournament of Worlds. I'll see you guys then. Happy hunting.